As an XRP holder, if you think you may not lose this war, you can be dead wrong, because there is a possibility of that happening. All of us who hold XRP dream about it reaching big numbers. I agree on that. For some, it's $10. For some, it's $20, $50, or even $100. But for some others, it's like $10,000, $50,000, some crazy big numbers. But let me say something. Just holding 10 XRP is not going to make you wealthy. If you think that way, I'm sorry, but that's not the reality. And even if you think your dream is big, but still it's close to reality, you may still have problem winning this war. Why is that? Because inside this market, you have guys like this kind of thought process. They deliver it, right? Guys like this is always there. That's for sure. And instead, if you have the primary understanding of the asset and then the primary tool as an investor, you may find your way through, but majority of the XRP holders are going to find this the hard way. But XRP as an asset has a lot behind it. So if you are one among them who understand XRP as an asset, you're already at a different level of knowledge. But will that fully help you to become wealthy holding this asset? It's really actually hard to say. When you look at all this information and then you still get information out there in the market like this, it really makes it hard. And then along with that, the human nature of getting everything quickly, and nowadays you know that. You click on something in the mobile, you get that delivered now, today, now. That just went in our bloodstream and we want everything right now. So that's going to be hard. So patience is becoming another hard factor. And what makes it even harder is that the fact that these kind of people actually put item like this. I'm not bashing the order, but I'm trying to figure out what the reality is. And for me, it definitely is these. It definitely looks something like this, because you have seen that, and that's what's happening in the market. And to make things a little bit easy, the good part, the positive part, staying regularly updated on these information is really important. Otherwise, you may actually fall for these kind of trap. And what happens? You end up selling something like this way early because of some FUD, or you think that's a great price to sell. Someone in the market may come out and convince you this is the best stuff. You are not losing the war. But what happens? You are going to really lose the war. Because on the macro side of things, if you are looking at this, you have a lot happening. So if we want to look at that and say like, okay, I think this is happening, you need to understand that. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. So when we dig into this, yes, the fundamentals are there. Yes, we all understand that. But if you look at this is one of the biggest steps you need to actually understand. Now, this doesn't actually look good for this individual, but it also has a clear understanding of what he did. Now, it's not the Gates, the grandfather, because you come here, look at the correction. It's that reported that Bill Gates convinced this guy to never buy this. But that was not the truth. It was like he sold it accidentally because this guy convinced him that AOL stood no chance against Microsoft, or for that matter, in the competition. But what happened? That was a big mistake. Great. Now that guy is $1 billion guy, so it's okay for him. But if you are in this market, you don't want to get that regret. You don't want to reach that regret soon. Now, yes, I agree. In the market, you are going to definitely see all this. But read this once. Why digital euro, the central bank digital currency for Europe, could destroy Ripple's XRP. I'm like, that's clickbait, right? It's like Ekta Maurya. And I think, okay, maybe good for her. But right now, if you look at the CBDCs and what you're looking at here is the stablecoin and XRP. Okay, maybe for Tether it's going to be hard, but stablecoin like USDC is actually working with central bank digital currencies and they don't understand this. Now, if Ripple is the biggest holder of XRP and they really think this is going to hurt them, why would they work with these guys to actually push the adoption of central bank digital currencies? They always give you that idea that this is the path forward. They are so comfortable with CBDCs coming out because they understand that majority of the institutions are going to come inside this. Majority of the central banks are about to do this. Just being euro is not enough. You need to trade from euro to dollar, euro to yuan, ruble, anything, and you need a bridge asset. Whether you agree or not, that is where we are moving. And in terms of the price, yes, when you come to the market, you look at this and you're like, it's not moving, it's boring. But something really is happening inside that. If I'm looking at this, I'm not saying yes, it's down compared to where we were last year, but given the fact that it does look like it's slowly rounding up, people are coming back and there is something happening, it does look good. But again, that means one thing. What? The price is at the bottom. You are here. The people's interest is at the lowest. And that's when the market is on sale. Great. But a lot of people have hard time holding or buying. If you're new to the market, you're looking to buy something undervalued. And most of the projects which have some kind of fundamentals, you should be looking to buy those. And especially if you look at XRP and what XRP Ledger is doing, this is something great. Look at this. Something is going to be integrated with the existing financial infrastructure, including US Federal Reserve related projects. Now, this is one of the reasons why I was highlighting it here. Like, yes, this is big, but the difference is, as Crypto highlighted, this is for the domestic payment use case. Fine. So right now, I don't think you need XRP unless, it's like JPM coin to dollar, right? You need to bridge. But if you are dealing from dollar to dollar, you don't need that. JPM coin is actually, what's it solving? I don't understand. So the same structure. If it's a deal between dollar to dollar, you don't need that. When you really need that is during a cross-currency move. So if it's a payment going from one country to another one, you need that. And that's where, this stuff actually comes in. The digital dollar project actually highlights Ripple is a part of that. And when we say Ripple, the days of saying, it's not XRP Ledger, it's not on-demand liquidity, it's over. It's over. We are here at an area where we are talking about scalability, where we are talking about settlements, where we are talking about everything related to that, right? You come down here and you read this. The DDP, which is like the digital dollar project, will identify options for a central bank digital currency solution to help enhance the monetary policy. That may not sound great. And financial stability. Okay, that would be good. Then what? Provide needed scalability. I don't think a lot of projects like, Ether can actually do that. Let's see. Then security. Definitely not those guys, which have a lot of hacks in terms of history, a lot of outages. So you don't want that. And then what? Privacy in retail, wholesale, and international payments. And all of this is going to be added to what? Integrate with the existing financial infrastructure, including US Federal Reserve related projects. So this is, so massive, but a lot of people would not digest it properly. Now, this one is again a new one, like August 29. So it's not that old, and you're reading like this. The price has a mismatch. I agree. I definitely agree. Now, that's one of the reasons why we say undervalued. If the value of XRP is already priced in with all these adoptions, most likely you're not looking to buy it. You're trying to sell it into the market, take the profit because you've been holding for this long. You bought at 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, whatever. You're holding for a long time. You make that, right? The price mismatch is what makes it an undervalued asset. Now we are talking about the on-demand liquidity, which is run on the XRP ledger, which is using XRP. So that's why when they say XRP price action does not actually look like it's pricing in all of these great news in the market, I do agree on that. And that's some way I feel like, okay, there's a lot of manipulation happening. Now let it be. If that was about manipulation in this article, I would have agreed. But with putting that position like, okay, derailing XRP from the payment industry does not make any kind of sense for me. Because when you actually go in, what you are looking at is like all the industries are coming together for what? A central bank digital currency. So even if US is saying, okay, we are going to delay this stuff, but at the bottom you see this. It's not only the central bank digital currency, it is going to be something which is going to have the Federal Reserve related projects. It can be Fed now, but not for the domestic one. Now, maybe the domestic messaging, it may work, but you don't need that. Right now, I think most of the issues are being solved at that end. But what you really need is the worldwide interaction. And I think all of you would agree on that point. So once again, you should not be selling something if you believe that asset has fundamentals based on all that you see. Now, these are like, not years old stuff we are talking about. And if you believe like, next year, central bank digital currencies are going to come out and, way before that, there's going to be a lot of pilot testing and a lot of other stuff happening. It's going to be interesting in terms of price. Right. But that's pricing in the actual value. Fine. So right now, when you look at the market, you're like, okay, we've been talking about this. We are looking at this. Is the dominance dropping? Bitcoin dominance is still holding. Altcoin dominance is still holding. It's not breaking higher. It's kind of, highly correlated. It's this equals that, right? So in that sense, when you're looking at the market, you also look at some of the assets. This is, one of the gaming related metaverse kind of stuff, right? You're looking at this and saying like, okay, against BTC, it's still at the lower end. But the RSI kind of suggests to you like there is a divergence being building here, right? The MACD is suggesting like, okay, I'm trying to cross back to the upside. Fine. Usually it does not happen in the first try. Second, it most likely happens in the third or fourth. So here you tried it once, you failed. Twice, you failed. The third time you crossed to the upside. Same thing can happen here. Now again, it's not just one asset we're talking about. This Ether, you're looking at it on a shorter time horizon where you see, okay, it's actually printing a great bullish pattern, but we don't know whether it's actually going to break higher. This is the area where we are focusing on. That's the resistance. And you need to see that the price is breaking to the upside. Great. Now, as you zoom out, what's interesting is that the price is below the moving average. Here it's a 20-day moving average, which we are using. You can also put a 50-day moving average if you want to actually consider that. But right now, what you look at is not only the moving average, but how the price is behaving. So this 3-day candle, if it closes as a piercing candle, that's again bullish. Or this weekly candle should actually close above 50% of the last candle. I think we are already right now 50% of the last candle. So imagine that price action was from 1,600 all the way down to 1,420. If you get somewhere in between here and close this candle, that's going to be bullish. Now, what about XRP? So you go to XRP, you look at XRP BTC pair, and this is something what's interesting. Yes, the price is breaking to the upside in a pattern which is bullish after getting this strong bullish candles, which is actually bullish. But usually what happens, XRP is not pricing in all of these technical stuff because it's being suppressed or manipulated or however you want to consider that. But right now, we are still above that. We haven't actually faked back in. We are holding on to that. So if this stays and the RSI suggests that you may retest and bounce, that's good. So that's against Bitcoin. Now you go on to Ether. XRP versus Ether. And you see like, okay, we are at the bottom. We're staying there for some time. The RSI is again slowly building momentum or the strength against Ether in this particular pair, XRP to Ether, is building up, which is actually a good news. Then you go on to the USD terms. Okay, we understood that this is happening with dollar, this is happening with Ether. What's it for dollars? Because that's what we ultimately care, right? We are showing bullish divergence, but we lack momentum here. And with the SEC case, XRP is a little bit slow or a lot slow. We can all agree on that point. But if you actually zoom out and say like, okay, this is a macro pattern, this is all happening, evolving, it's all good, it's all great. But patience is the hardest part which we all have. And when the market is actually doing stuff which is so bad, it's really hard to actually say like, okay, have more patience. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. If you are watching this from Europe, you already understand what's happening with the energy prices and how the politicians or those who manage the finance take wrong decisions. So here, if you are looking at this, household incomes are crashing at a time when the inflation is going through roof. Now it makes sense. You have a lot of expenses, but are you really looking at something like inflation continuing to the sky for 10 years? That's one of the hardest part to actually digest in, but mostly that never happens. Now, why do I say that? When you come look at like, okay, how did the inflation turned out? This is for US, right? If you are looking at this, okay, you did get inflation, which actually peaked all the way up to 20%. But if you look at that, it went up and immediately came back down first time. The next time you again went up, you came back down. So what's happening back then is you're having war, another war, and you have a lot of spending. So you're printing more money, and that causes this. Now here, it's like the late expansion, oil shocks, whatever. It's pushing you through this. You go back down, consolidate some time, and then again go back up. Then you go drop. Only during certain time, it has happened like, not inflating, deflating. So it's actually rare. But if the inflation shoots up like this through the sky, about 10%, the chances are that you may drop close to zero or even go below zero. Fine. So what will be the reaction from the Federal Reserve or any central bank for that matter? When the inflation is going up, they're trying to chase it, trying to slow it down. And what's coming in next 10, 13 days, you'll actually see the CPI data. And if you actually look at the current CPI data and ask that question to yourself, like, how bad is it? Okay, last time it's still bad, but it's slowing down. Now, a lot of people will have hard time agreeing on this, but when you actually go look at the oil, this is what I personally think. We made a double top. We broke lower. If you zoom in, you can actually see that this was a big candle. So you broke that level to the downside. Now, if you're going back up, getting rejected, that's a great story. You're coming back down. Oil prices are going down. This would actually reflect in your groceries or whatever you're buying in next month or so. Maybe not next month, the month after that, because this is the market price, right? People go buy that and then come to your pumps and you pay, right? But right now, what you have to look at is this. From June, the price have been dropping. So if you think about that June, people are actually taking in this and coming to the oil banks or gas stations, whatever you call, and selling it there. The price is going down, slowing down a little bit. Yes, it went up massively this year and the year before, but right now with the inflation, government cannot subsidize that and it's all through the roof. So if it's going down, the inflation is going down. So what is the point I'm trying to make? If the inflation slows down, why would Fed actually again do another 100 basis point or 75 basis point? If the inflation drops to 8.5, then this time if we get below 8, I don't think they have to actually go for another 75 basis point, which the market has already priced in my opinion, because that's one of the reasons why we actually saw this drop. Powell coming out, taking that hammer, right? He did that with words. But if the inflation is lower, market would say, okay, I don't think like we are going to do that, because that was like the Fed came in, kicked the market down 4 days before. I agree on that point. But you also have to understand there is a huge possibility that we would break this to the upside. And at the same time, you would see inflation coming down. So right now on a daily, you see like a long wick to the downside. That's okay. Sometimes that's like, okay, I should say you may come down. It may not break to the upside, because usually what happens in technicals is like you go up and you get the stuff which is we call like, hanging man. It kind of shows you like you're gonna drop. Now you can literally go and check on that. And as you check that, this is what you actually see. This actually indicates different stuff in the market. When you go up, you trend higher and then get a candle like this. Usually it's saying, okay, I'm going to come back to the support. So where will that support be? So here, the moving average would most likely act as a support. So it's not too much, it's a little bit, but fine. But if you actually look at the macro of the same area, you're looking for something like this where you're saying, okay, I feel like this is breaking higher. And if that's happening here, that definitely means like here, Bitcoin dominance should be breaking lower and we are going for another crazy altcoins. Now, if you're not familiar with that, you can actually watch this video where I've actually detailed about that. So if you are in the market trying to make money and you hold a lot of XRP and you don't really want to lose potential profits which is coming in, you need a lot of patience. One, two, you need to be regularly staying updated with these information. Otherwise, guys like this would actually come out and kick you out. It's all the psychology. And that would be imbalanced with these if you don't realize that this is the reality. It's like it's been the reality for a long time. And we've been waiting for the central bank digital currency era so that, bridge asset can actually work as a bridge asset. When we started the channel, we put this one here 3 years back, XRP Global Bridge Asset. Now we believe in that, and that's why we are inside this asset. And that's going to happen. Time, no one knows, but we will still be here when the price is at the moon level, when we are all wealthy. But in this market, make sure that it won't be just one or two assets doing that. You will see a lot of different assets gaining momentum. When you go look at this one, you'll potentially see like, okay, other assets are actually slowly building momentum. Some of these are actually pumping. Fine, but you actually have to look at it on a macro. You go look at the return rates, at least look for last 30 days, then last quarter, and then say like, okay, which of these are opportunities where you see these as big opportunities or high risk. Then make your decision. So guys, if you're receiving value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. That supports the channel a lot. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.